are back here on Cover to Cover. Happy to have you all back. It's a Thursday, and we are going to go through it. I mean, there's some stories breaking right now that I'm very excited to talk about. But before we get to all that, hey, the podcast is doing well. We're getting some numbers. Things are exciting. You people are all into it. I know we've had a couple of bad reviews this week, and I went crazy because I have nothing better to do in my life than read one bad review of the podcast, and it sent me over the edge. But I'm back, and I'm happy that all of you stuck up for me and said, this podcast is great. Alex is great. You're great. We love it. We love the fact that you have no facts on anything and fuck up every story. It's amazing. So having said that, thank you all. Come see me in Plano. I will be in Plano. As you're listening to this, I'm in Plano, Texas. I'm not currently, but I will be when you start listening to this. I'm at Hyenas Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this weekend. If you live in that Dallas-Plano area, please come to see me. I love hanging out with people, and I haven't been on the road now in a week, and I'm excited to get back to it. Let's do it in Texas. Big Texas. Okay. Here we go to the stories. First of all, I want to talk about it. I know it's been out for a little bit now, but the R. Kelly Gayle interview, Gayle King interview was amazing. I watched it in pieces. I watched the first one, then there was a bit of a second one. Then I watched the two girls kind of talking about it. The two girls who are saying that they're not being held captive. And the entire time, R. Kelly's there. He's in the room with them, like coughing in the. He's off camera, but he's making sure that they know he's there. So the whole thing is just very strange. And then, of course, Gayle King handled it amazingly because R. Kelly's. My takeaway from the entire thing was R. Kelly. Did you watch it, Alex? Did you watch it at all?
I saw clips of it.
Clips of it. Yeah. So my takeaway from it is R. Kelly is dumb as shit, which I mean, I guess that's I kind of, we were up on that. And yeah, he's guilty of these things, of course. And I don't know if like making girls go to the bathroom at a certain time is illegal, but if they're 14, it is, I guess. But if they're 21, I don't know if that's illegal. Like if you can tell a girl when to eat or whatever. Not that it's right. I'm saying I don't know if it's illegal. So he's screaming about 30 years in the business, and I can't believe this is the way I'm being treated.
That's spend 30 years somewhere else.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, I don't know. Like, will you go to jail for this? But anyway, Gayle King, like, just the whole time is just sitting there and handling it perfectly, just like she's just like, Robert, and as he's standing above her screaming about whatever, and everybody was praising Gayle King, and I've always liked Gayle. From my Oprah days, and I just like her on CBS, and she's great. And everyone was praising her for being able to handle how cool and collected she remained, but she's been hanging out with Oprah since she was like 11. So she has probably dealt with some breakdowns over the years of powerful people where she's just had to be like, the Oprah screaming about, if I got to eat one more cauliflower pizza up in here. And Gayle's like, calm down, Oprah. This cauliflower pizza's good too. Why can't I have some bread? That's my Oprah impression. And it's done from that one movie that she was in, The Color Purple, that I just used that character as my Oprah go-to. And yeah, it was fun. And then some of the other things that are coming out about, like, this guy is just a strange dude. First of all, he's 52. And the two girls who testified in the one that Gayle had, one of them was 21. The other one was 23, I think. And they're saying, the parents are saying these girls were brainwashed, and sure, they probably are. I mean, I don't know if R. Kelly has the ability to brainwash people, but
I mean, he's got fans.
I know. It's still amazing to me that he has huge fans, like a giant fan base, because I know, once again, it's not the music I listen to every day, so he probably does have songs that are hits currently, at least in that world and in the R&B world. I mean, of course, I know I Believe I Could Fly, I Believe I Could, and I know all the other ones, Ignition, which is a great song.
All the Trapped in the Closets.
And when Trapped in the Closet, like, Saturday Night Live did a great sketch on it this week, and they talked about in all his songs, he was giving clues. I mean, the Trapped in the Closets were weird songs.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have a song called Age is Only a Number?
Yes.
Which is basically saying, hey, that's when he was with Aaliyah, I think. Aaliyah at the time was 16 or whatever she was.
I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump.
Is that him? Is that R. Kelly?
Isn't that him?
It might be.
I'm pretty sure.
It could be. Yeah, you might be right. But yeah, all that stuff is so anyway, it was interesting to watch. And I know when a person like Gayle King is doing an interview, like all you want is for the person to just lose their shit. So when that happened, she just must be like, "Oh my God, this is we got gold.
TV,
this guy is giving us everything we want. He's acting like an idiot. He's crazy. He's jumping. He's got out of the chair. Which when you're doing an interview like that, all you want is people to whip off that microphone and walk off.
Yeah.
It's gold for an interview person. Having said that, I am now going to introduce on Cover to Cover our first guest. I don't think he's going to tear off his microphone and leave, but let me give you a little backstory on what's going to happen here. I am going out of town. I'm going to Calgary, Canada. I'll be performing at the Comedy Cave. And at the Comedy Cave, it's not unlike an R. Kelly situation. You're a hostage with them for like a week.
Cave.
Yeah, you were like a week at the Comedy Cave. So you do shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I am basically being held hostage in Calgary at the Comedy Cave all week next week. So if you're in Canada, and I know a lot of you Calgary people have written me and said, when are the dates? Come, please. I need friends in Calgary. I'm going to be there a long time. So I have to cover next week's podcast, and then after that I go to Hawaii and have to cover a few. So I brought in a guest to help me. Now, let me tell you who I have with me, and it's very exciting. Many years ago, I worked on a show called Chelsea Lately. The first guy I met walking into Chelsea Lately was Steve Malmsteen. Steve Malmsteen was sitting at a desk in a room with a guy named Johnny Kansas. They shared an office together. Johnny directed a lot of the sketches and stuff on the show, and Steve Malmsteen was a writer. As soon as I walked in, I thought I had recognized Steve Malmsteen's name from like a Family Guy or something. I said, "Didn't you write Family Guy?" He says, "I wish." And he runs out of the room. And then we kind of sat at the end of the writer's room table together and would thumb through the New York Post every day, the two of us. He's from New York. Say hi, Steve.
Well, hello, Chris.
There he is. That's Steve Malmsteen, everybody. You probably know him if you watch Chelsea Lately. And so Steve's from New York. We're the same age. He's one of the guys who, in life, you meet some people, you're like, this is my guy. He's a guy. We go to a lot of concerts together, baseball games, things like that. Best guy to go to any of the stuff like that. Easy to hang with. Easy hang, which I love. And here he is, everybody. Steve Malmsteen, our first guest ever on Cover to Cover.
I feel great. I feel like Bill Murray was Letterman's first guest.
Yeah, that's right. On both the CBS and the late night. Now, let me give you a little backstory on Cover to Cover. We have a 98% female audience, 98.8%. I just looked it up on something. Yeah. They would give me the numbers of that. So it's pretty much 100% female audience. Good gals, my kind of women, strong, fuck you bitches, my people. And they come from Juicy Scoop and some other places. Some people come from Kirkman's podcast, but they're here now. So that's the way we kind of lean towards that. I know you like the Yankees and all the Giants, but stay away from all that shit. You know what I mean? Like we talk about a little bit. We got the A-Rod. We can talk about the A-Rod and J-Lo, stuff like that. If we lean towards that, and so that's it. Here we are, Steve Malmsteen. Now Steve's very excited. Did you watch R. Kelly?
Yes, of course.
What did you think?
Well, the first thing I thought was what kind of PR representation is he getting?
Well, there's obviously none.
Well, but tells him
it's the guy who came over and wiped the sweat off his forehead at one point. That's his PR.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to be hovering like over a 60-year-old woman in an interview?
Right. But there was no stopping him at that point. He'd gotten up and exactly. But Gayle was just amazing. But of course, Gayle's a pro, and I'm not sure Gayle King had ever had aspirations of being in media. She was just Oprah's friend, right? And then because of being Oprah's friend, she kind of became almost like a media. Now she's like a heavyweight, anchor on CBS. But I don't think she was Oprah. I know was a newswoman for years in Chicago before she became Oprah. But I don't think Gayle was. I think Gayle was a regular mother and wife. I could be wrong.
She was her producer on the original Oprah show.
But just because they were friends. Yeah.
I mean, and that's how it works. You just kind of end up on TV.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're just on a show and they'll put this guy on. Yeah.
So here we are. That's Steve's going to be chiming in on the stories today, and we have like a breaking story right now, which has been crazy. It's been breaking as we're going to air right now. It's this story about, I guess Felicity Huffman has been arrested for this. And a felony arrest, which is cute, and I guess Lori Laughlin's another one, and she's in Canada, so I guess there's an issue with that. That's what I've been reading. Like I said, it's a pretty new story. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be fleshed out a little bit more. But now it's there. Steve has all the facts on the case. Give me a little bit back. Yeah, give me a little bit of backstory.
So basically, there's a guy down in Newport Beach named Rick Singer.
Okay.
Who owns a company that rich people hire to get them into college.
Yeah.
And literally they hire people to take the tests. So you walk in, take the SAT.
Right.
The little rich kid from Newport Beach doesn't pay close attention. They're not doing great. They bring in another guy to finish the test for you.
So wait a minute. So
literally, and then there you go. There's your test.
Now you
That's one part of it.
Alex, are you a college guy? You a college?
I'm a college dropout.
Okay. What school? Oh, you were the UNLV, right?
What's the UNLV?
UNLV,
yeah.
And Steve's a Tulane graduate.
Tulane.
Now let me tell you this: I am not. I didn't go to college. I didn't even think about college. My parents didn't even. Growing up, my parents didn't even mention college to us. Like it wasn't even something. There was no aspiration. Not even that. It was you were going to be an electrician when you graduate high school, like everybody does. You go and become an electrician. You become a journeyman, like an apprentice electrician.
Good old the apprenticeman.
You go right into it. You go right into it. At 18 years old, I was an electrician in New York City. That's what I was doing. I was working at the World Trade Center when it was still there, like basically changing light bulbs. And my parents never mentioned college. They never were like, my mother didn't go, my father didn't go. So, and here I am doing fine. Like, I had a pretty decent career, had a nice life. Am I dumb? Sometimes I feel I am, but I've played catch up. But like I've read as much as I can read, and I try to keep myself abreast of things that people talk about in everyday life. I don't know. Like I said many times on this podcast, I don't deep dive on anything because I probably won't be able to come at you with it. But if we stay superficially on just the topics
USA
of the day,
Today.
Right? Thank you, USA Today. Exactly. I could sit at a party and talk anything, which I've always prided myself on. I'm like, hey man, I could talk about baseball or football or A-Rod and J-Lo or this Felicity Huffman. Boom, no college, no debt. No degree. And at this point, can't you just lie about it? Can't you just say...
Dude, no one's fact-checking that. No,
if you go into like an interview somewhere, can't you say, oh yeah, I'm an NYU graduate? Unless the person sitting on the other end of the desk was also an NYU graduate, then you're screwed. But if they weren't, they're like, oh, cool. Like, how do you right? Am I wrong?
Yes, but getting back to this story.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
No,
so I just want to say
a crazy thing that you just mentioned about the fact
but let me just say that. So what has happened is these people, like Felicity Huffman and Lori Laughlin, have paid this guy tons of money to get these kids into these big schools, UCLA, Georgetown,
USC, all the Boston. It's a Boston store, right?
Okay.
So Boston University, Boston College, Northeastern, Yale.
Yeah, right.
And I was upset Tulane wasn't on it. Nobody wanted to cheat to get into my school. Come on.
Nobody wants to go down there.
Come on.
It's too muggy, mosquitoes down in
New
Tulane.
Orleans, you've had some time.
I love it. It's a great town.
No, but the other part, the athletic part, the checking people's credentials thing.
Right.
There's another part to the story where
the sports,
where they are giving scholarships to people that aren't even athletes.
It's amazing.
So like there's a coach, I think the Yale soccer coach just got fired. Somebody gave him $400,000 to get his kid into school and pretend he played soccer.
But if you have $400,000 to give this guy, wait, who cares if you have an education? Yeah, just pay for the school.
You know, you could. Well, I guess you can't
but if these people are obviously, I heard this guy made $25 million doing this with these different people, and it's not only Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman. It's huge people, heads of industry who are doing it. So the actresses are the exciting ones to talk about, but there are other people. So if you're that rich, who cares if you have an education?
Buy him a bunch of gold.
Yeah, just go buy the kid a house somewhere in Boston and let him live out his life.
You could buy a house, put the word Harvard on it. The kid goes in, you hire a teacher, you went to Harvard. How the kid wouldn't even know.
Well, they were also, I saw they were photoshopping faces on sports pictures to show these recruiters. Look at him. That's him kicking a football. And it's a photoshopped face on a kicker.
Were they doing sports because that's how they get the duds in? They're like, oh, look, he's an athlete.
Yes.
He's an idiot, but he's an athlete.
They need a certain amount of the sports need good grades.
Yeah.
To have like Yale has to have, you have to have good grades to be on the Yale soccer team.
Yeah.
So look at my kid. Meanwhile, the kid's 120 pounds.
So what is
it's like they should make the kid play.
Right.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh-oh, Steve's got a new show. He's going to take Felicity Huffman's kid and make him play soccer.
Make him play center. Play center for
Put him in a...
So you can kick a 60-yard field goal. All right, come on. Let's do it.
See him kick a 60-yard field goal. He could kick for the Chicago Bears. That guy can't kick field goals, right? See, now I did. I told Steve not to.
Wait, but I think I didn't go too. That wasn't too male.
No. It was perfect. It was perfect.
And it's the women's soccer coach too. I think.
Let me ask you. Now, do you have facts on Felicity Huffman's kid? What school did they go to?
I don't think they've released that.
Because Felicity Huffman is married to William H. Macy.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a big...
How about William H. Macy's like at the gym? He sees Felicity Huffman cheating on the screen. He's like, oh, jeez.
That's like a heavyweight couple there, those two.
She got nominated for an Oscar.
I know. I remember that. She played a trans person. Remember, it was before trans was as big as it is now. It was not as hot, but it was called transphobe something, trans something, and she played a trans person in it. That when a woman could play a trans person these days, you'd have to be an actual trans person to play a trans person. Otherwise, you'd be crucified by the way. I can't. I still, because that's the beauty of this podcast. Steve, feel free. We don't have any advertisers or anything like that, so we could say anything. I could still make fun of Caitlyn Jenner on this podcast, and I do. So have fun with it.
You're all best friend.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I try to tell people, because I sometimes say he when I'm referencing Caitlyn, and some people get mad at me, and I try to say that I was friendly with Bruce. Like Bruce was a friend of mine, so it was hard for me to separate Bruce from Caitlyn. I have not.
Have you ever met Caitlyn?
I have not met Caitlyn. I have not met Caitlyn.
You only met Bruce.
I don't know. Like I don't become starstruck much. I don't think the only time I was ever really starstruck, and you guys can chime in on this too, is anybody who's ever starstruck, was I met one time. I was waiting tables. It's like middle of the afternoon at this place up on Sunset Boulevard here called Mirabelle Restaurants, where I worked with Meghan Markle. I used to work with. I think I've talked about this before. I used to work with Meghan Markle at this place. Now she's the princess or whatever she's considered. One day, middle of the afternoon, it's dead quiet, lunch, nobody's in there. In comes walking George Michael. At the height of George Michael, at the height of like good looking George Michael, like, when he was like gorgeous, not wham George Michael, like jerk off in
short hair,
like jerk off in the bathroom, which he probably wasn't far up the street. It was that, I know the bathroom we did it in Beverly Hills. So he comes walking in, and I was like, oh my God, like just like a tall guy, kind of 6'1", Greek looking, fucking gorgeous, black turtleneck. Great. Then he sits down, orders like a pizza. He's got a guy with him, and he's smoking a cigarette, and the ashes are like falling all over his shirt, like his black turtleneck, to the point where, like, how is he not know? And then I'm like, oh, this guy's insane. Like, or he's on pills. Like, he's fucking not all there. And I remember being so excited to see him. And then I was like, and I'm like, oh, he's just a slob like everybody else, like a shit all over his shirt. And anyway, but that was like the one time I was like starstruck by somebody. But I think if I saw Caitlyn Jenner, I'd be like starstruck. Like it would be on so many levels, on the fact that it just looks like Bruce Jenner with a wig on, and he's a big giant person wearing like a strapless dress. His back is, he's a premier, not only an athlete.
Yeah, I know. He's gold medal.
Like the biggest, one of the best athlete in the world at one point. What he did was impossible. And I don't think it's been done since by an American, has it?
No.
To Decathlon winner? Yeah. Anyway, so that would be very and I spend a lot of time in Malibu. I have a place there in the summer, and one of these days we are going to meet in Malibu. I know he lives up in the hill and I live down by the beach, but we're going to meet somewhere at one of the restaurants or something, and I'm very excited that that happens. And then of course Caitlyn is posting. Caitlyn recently just posted something new on her. I'm fascinated by this whole thing. My Caitlyn Jenner. There's a new thing on the Twitter. On her Twitter, she's fascinated by these flowers that are growing on the mountains by her house in Malibu, because it's been raining so much here in Los Angeles. We are getting flowers and some things that we don't normally get in Los Angeles. Like it looks like Ireland here. The mountains are green. There's been like crazy butterflies. I don't know if you know.
I just saw it on the way.
Yeah, the last couple of days, these butterflies are flying all over the city. It's all because of the rains. And Caitlyn is getting some, I think they're poppies or some sort of flower growing on his hills. Mm-hmm. And he can't stop tweeting about it. Like, there's gorgeous poppies growing on these hills. Everyone get out here, look at the poppies. It's a great season.
That's the Caitlyn?
That sounds like something your grandmother would say.
What is that?
That's exactly the way he talks. If you watch his Instagram stories, this is how he talks. He extends the last word of every sentence. Having a great time today in Malibu. It's tough living in Malibu these days. Anyway, he's got this picture of him sitting in the poppies. He tweeted it yesterday with the girl. It's now his girlfriend. I don't know if you know this, Steve. He has a girlfriend. It's another trans person. She is trans as well. She's 19 years old, and they are together. Some people say they're not. Some people say they are.
Can't do the math.
I know. He's 72, I believe. Anyway, she's 19. This is basically like a Rolling Stone situation. It's like Jagger or with a 18-year-old girl. It's the same thing, but nobody's really making us think about it because I think they're both trans, and it's like, let them have their fun. So he's got a picture of them lying in these poppies together on Twitter, him and the girl. Now it's way up a mountain. This fucking guy's 72 years old. So he's this old queen goes takes off his size fucking 14 Jimmy Choos and walks halfway up this hill and lays down, and I don't know who took the picture. He's got you got to look at the picture. It's fantastic. Anyway, go look at it on Caitlyn Jenner's Twitter. And we're having a beautiful day here in Malibu in the poppies. Anyway. All right, let's talk some more stuff.
Can I ask, is his girlfriend, was it male to female transition also?
Yes, okay, I believe. Now, I don't know. Maybe you know this, Steve. I don't know about the Caitlyn Jenner situation. I don't know if the penis is gone yet or it is. I've heard mixed things. I've heard mixed
both.
things. I've heard. Now, the other thing that I think is
I've heard mixed.
Now, here's the thing that last week it came out that Kylie Jenner, Forbes magazine had her as and people were upset because they said she's not self-made. But I don't care about that. I think in a way she is kind of self-made. Like I've never seen a girl transform themselves quite from what she was on the start of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She was like the runt of the litter, more or less, in the Kardashian family. Like little lips, thin lips. She was young. She was a little girl, but still not. It wasn't good looking like the other ones were. And boom, one day she just gets some plastic surgery, the best plastic surgery I've ever seen on anyone. I mean, it completely transformed. Doesn't look plastic surgery, transformed her. And then she goes on to become a billionaire.
Family business.
She is the youngest billionaire, I think, of all time or some crazy shit. I don't know if you saw the story last week. Yeah. So now here's the thing about this Bruce Jenner. Now, this is from his dick. That girl is all Bruce Jenner. She is Kris Jenner and Bruce's kid. There's no Armenian in her. She is full on Bruce and Kris. That's not Robert Kardashian. She is just Bruce and Chris. So this dick that is now sitting in a fucking jar in his pantry, it produced the fucking youngest Bill. That's crazy. Like, that's a good dick that he went and said, get this goddamn thing off me.
It's been nothing but trouble.
I've already produced the youngest billionaire. Take this dick away. I'm going to go sit in the poppies with my girlfriend.
How do you follow a billion?
But that's crazy.
Just get it.
Like, and then the other one is Kendall, who's like this gorgeous model girl, and then there's a ton more. There's the Brody Jenner, who's a good-looking kid, but they're all different women. And he's got like eight or nine kids. Anyway, enough of that. I could talk about Caitlyn Jenner.
How many did he have with Chris?
Two. Like full, like with him and Chris. There's
the others
two,
were
Kendall
from a
and Kylie.
different,
and they're from Robert Kardashian, who's the OJ's lawyer. You all know the story.
No, I mean,
yeah. Like
Jenner's other kids are from previous like before Chris.
Yeah. The different women along the way. He was like a notorious Lothario in the the 70s and stuff.
Studio 54.
He's got 5 wives or whatever, or something like that. I could be wrong, and I often am. Anyway, next story I wanted to talk about a little bit is I don't know if there's a big thing. Maybe you've seen it, Alex, and I don't know if you have as well, Steve. There's the thing going on now where it's become like a YouTube sensation, where these kids, 16, 17-year-old kids, anybody who works in a restaurant or like a fast food restaurant, like a Burger King or McDonald's or a Walmart or a Target, and who have access to a microphone, as stores do and as restaurants do. They have access to a microphone that is attached to a PA, and you're able to make announcements over the PA, like what's on sale at a Walmart or whatever. So what these kids are doing now is they're grabbing the PA and they're quitting their job on the PA and they're dropping the mic and walking out.
Posting it on Instagram?
They're posting on Instagram. It's become like a big sensation. Like this job sucks. My boss is a fucking asshole. Bye-bye. And walk out. Now there's 17-year-old kids working at Walmart or Burger King and they're being praised for doing this. They're getting hundreds of thousands of views on these things. And people so now it's becoming a thing like just go into Burger King, McDonald's and fucking quit on microphone and you become a superstar. It's making me so angry. Fuck you, little punk motherfuckers. First of all, every job sucks. Steve, 17 years old, first job. What was it?
Montvale Stationers. I would collate
is that Jersey?
Yeah. I would collate like the New York Times at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. What does that mean,
collate?
Like the New York Times,
okay.
It's
sure.
25 sections.
Yeah.
They would come to the store separate. So like 22 sports sections,
put it together.
22 arts and leisure.
So you're working in a store.
So I'd sit there and put them all together with my good buddy Neil Rupp.
Really?
And we would, at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, collate the New York. Like the worst would be.
That's a shit job.
Yeah, like Thanksgiving when all the circular would be like,
right.
Geez, Thanksgiving. It was literally, it was crazy. Yeah.
That is crazy. I didn't even know that people did that. Yeah. What about you, Alex?
I was 14, tuxedo shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At 14, you could do that?
Yeah.
Like you
get a work permit in the state of Nevada.
So wait a minute, you were renting tuxedos to people?
Yeah.
Really?
Measuring them, shining up, buffing up shoes.
That's not a bad gig. You still do that today.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, a lot of events.
So now I'm going to tell you mine, and there's a little.
I met Floyd Mayweather there. Didn't get starstruck.
He's the king of Jersey, right? I mean, the king of Vegas.
Yeah,
right?
Did
he have like $10 billion in his pocket? Doesn't he carry around a suitcase of money?
No, I mean probably the entourage member had the suitcase. But
did he get a tuxedo there?
Thinking back, he shouldn't have. We weren't that nice.
Tuxedo?
This was years. I mean, even for him, he should have had way more money than to be fucking around.
It's funny. I sat next to him one time on a Southwest flight. He was in the middle seat. No shit.
Yeah.
It was Burbank to Vegas, which sometimes you like fuck it. Just get it. It's an hour, 40-minute flight. Yeah. Everybody, I sat next to Rob Lowe on one, Marie Osmond on one. Like they grab a seat, last minute, like 40 minutes.
Just like
what am I going to do? Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm going to tell my first job and then a little backstory on it. My first job was not unlike Alex. It was also 14 years old. Now, the reason this makes me angry is because your first job just sucks. Go do it. Whether it be Walmart or Burger King or McDonald's, you should be happy that you have the gig and fucking you punk fucks out there. Fuck you. I quit. My boss is a dick. Of course. That's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to learn something from it and move on to better things. maybe not, or stay there and do it for the rest of your life. I just read a story about a guy who's retiring from McDonald's, 88 years old. He retired from another job 25 years ago, got bored, started working at McDonald's. People say he's the greatest. They go to McDonald's for this guy. I forget what city it's in. And he said, you know what? I have 25 years I've been working here. Love it. I'm retiring. I don't want to retire, but I'm 88. I got to go. So anyway, these are decent people. So these kids on the right. So my first job, I'm stretching canvases. Now, basically, it's taking like art, as you see art, like canvases being stretched onto like, the wood around them. It was Skindali Art Company, which is like a friend of mine from down the street. His name is Skindali, Lou and Chris Skindali. They were like half-assed mobsters, right? So I'm working in their art stretching factory, which you just stretch shitty art. It's real paintings that people have done, and bad oil paintings of flowers and fruits and stuff. And I would stretch them onto it and staple it, and then just send it to wherever it was going to go. And I would do that every day after junior high school. I would walk from. So one day, it was just me and the guy who owned the place. His name was Lou Skindali. He's since passed, older guy, and like one other guy named Jimmy Caranto, who was a real fucked up kid in our neighborhood, and he. I'll get to a story about him in a second.
I love the names.
Jimmy Caranto turned out to be a real bizarre dude. Anyway, so I'm working with the Skindali Art Company. One day, these two it looks like something out of like a Goodfellas movie. These two guys come in like suits. Now, let me tell you that in Ronkonkoma, if you're wearing a suit, you either have to go to court. Like, there's no reason for anyone to wear a suit. Like, so most cities, you see somebody in a suit, you're like, oh, that guy's doing well for himself. In Ronkonkoma, you see a guy in a suit, you're like, this guy fucked up. Like, something went down and he's got to be in a suit today. So two guys come walking. There's a big, giant warehouse. They come walking like the back door, and they're like, hey, do you work here? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm 14 years old. They're like, we're taking the car. I'm like, what? I don't know what car. Like, we're taking the car. We're taking his car. I was like, okay. I don't know. I'm just nervous. I don't know anything. I'm just stretching and stapling. I hot wire. Now, let me just say, this wasn't a Mercedes-Benz, or this Lou Skindali had like an old shitty station wagon. They drive off in it. These two guys. I don't know how they started it. They somehow did, and they drive off in the car. Lou Skindali comes walking in from wherever, and he goes, where's my car? I said, two guys just came in and took it. Now,
you were 14,
but like,
don't let someone steal my car.
Like, well, what? He's like, oh, but it was a mob. It was like a weird mob thing. Like, I guess he didn't pay his whatever, and they repoed his car. It wasn't like, I'm going to kill you and fucking break your legs, but we're taking the car. We gave it to you. You're not paying it. We're taking the car. So he's like, he wasn't even, so that I didn't know mob shit at 14. I was like, that's weird. He didn't seem upset about it all. He's like, I said, they took the car. He's like, okay. Like, that's what happens in this world. So then he was my ride home. Like, he used to drive me home every day and drop me off. Now, it wasn't a far ride, but it was a weird, far enough to be strange for me to be walking it with a 65-year-old man. And we did. We walked home together, me and Lou Skindali. We walked home. And now, bear in mind, this is the suburbs of Long Island, and there's no sidewalk. So a lot of times we're walking on the side of like busy roads in like wet grass and shit. And I'm with an old man, and it just became strange. And I eventually got to my house, and he didn't live far down the road, and he got to his house, and Jimmy Caranto was with us. And we made it home. So I never got on the microphone. I never said the mob just stole this guy's car. I'm quitting. I feel like my life is, like this. Next week they could come in and shoot me. Like, you didn't pay your bills. We're going to shoot your 14-year-old fucking employee.
We're going to pay your mark or the canvas stretcher.
So so that's my little bit of takeaway from these people getting on. You punks should be. You didn't see Steve getting on the microphone and screaming about him. What was it? Collating the New York Times. So anyway, I just thought that story was kind of fun. And let me tell you about Jimmy Caranto now while I'm on this. People said like when I tell personal stories, so I'll tell you a little about Jimmy Caranto. He's the guy I worked with. Now, Jimmy Caranto became like kind of the town idiot. All right. Now he's probably 55 now. He's still alive, I believe. But he had some sort of disease. What's the disease that Annette Funicello had? What did she have? Remember she had some lupus or something? Was lupus?
Annette Furniture.
No, it might have been multiple sclerosis, MS.
Okay.
So this kid wound up getting MS later in life.
I should have known that.
Anyway, I figured that was right
That's
up your
why I'm
alley.
here.
Yeah. Anyway, one day I see him at this bar. It's called Tobin's in Ronkonkoma. Now I'm at this point already a giant celebrity, and it's exciting for people to see me in Tobin's on Ronkonkoma. They're like, "Oh my God, that's Chris Franjola, star of Chelsea Lately. What's he doing in this bar in Ronkonkoma?" Very, very exciting. So I'm home for the holidays. This is a couple of years ago. Now Jimmy Caranto comes walking in. Now he's not. He's down on his. It hasn't been a good life for him since the days of Scandali Art Company. And I said, "How's everything going?" He goes, "Oh, things are going well. The parents have passed. I knew his parents. They lived next door to me a little bit." And he said, "Oh, sorry to hear that." He goes, "But it's interesting." I swear to God, it's true. He goes, "But it's interesting." He goes, "You should drive by the house. You'll notice that I dress up dummies in my parents' clothes and I put them in the windows of the house." So I was like, I was like, this is like Psycho shit, like, from the movie Psycho. I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I buried, they both died within a couple of months of each other. And they left, he never moved from the house. So he's 56 years old, still living in it with his parents, never left. So his parents died. He's got the household to himself, but the clothes are still there. He starts dressing up dummies with his parents' clothes and putting them in the window of the house. So I'm like, well, I got to drive past this. It's on my way back from the bar anyway.
It's literally the plot of Psycho.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Christmas Eve, I'm driving back from this bar, Tobin's, to my house. I go past his house, and sure enough, creepy as shit, he's got they're like silhouettes. So they look like people standing in the house. And he's got 2 in one window and 2 in another. I'm like, this is the strangest thing I've ever. And I've since told it to other people. I'm like, that's just Jimmy. I'm like, you got to arrest this fucking guy. Like, that's not right. Like, there could be bodies in this house. Anyway, I should probably.
Turns out he's been dressing up his parents in their own clothes.
Like, I was like, that is Psycho. Like, wasn't his parents? The mother was just up in the window. Yeah, right.
I mean, does he change it like for seasons, like it's Christmas time? Put a little Santa hat on.
Anyway,
hey, Jimmy, I drove by the house the other day. Your mom's arm fell off. You might want to.
The whole thing is just bizarre.
Dude.
But for where I'm from, it's just Steve's. We're from similar places. Steve's had a little more of an affluent lifestyle than I've led, but we're in the same kind of you know what I'm talking about when I talk about these stories. Alex is out of Vegas, so he's had some interesting stories as well. Just different with a Vegas twist.
With a trashy.
He used to work at the Cosmo. My friend Alex. Yeah, he was a Cosmo guy, working the pool and stuff over there. We
spent some
back in our high living days on Chelsea Lately. We would take private jets to Vegas. We were like VIPs. At
you
the
guys
pool
went through the kitchen?
We were kitchen guys.
We were good fellas. Through the kitchen, out to the pool.
They bring you your own table.
One weekend, we were so hoity-toity hot. We went to see Prince and who was the country guy?
What was Zach Brown?
Like the same night. We saw Prince at 9.
Love?
Yeah.
The Beatles show Love.
That's right. And we were like VIP everywhere we went. Anyway, those days are over. Now I'm fucking driving past Jimmy Caranto's house to look at dummies in the window. Quickly, before we wrap things up, this has actually been fun having Steve here. Thank you, Steve, for being here. We're actually going to keep you. We're going to keep you for one more.
How about that?
Yeah, so it'll be 2 in a row.
We're going to stay. It's like a talk
exactly.
show.
It's so exciting. Yeah. Stay for a little bit and hang tight. J-Lo, A-Rod, what do you think? Excited about it? I mean,
Okay, do you think it's going to happen?
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah, right.
Now, did you see the Jose Canseco tweets?
Yes.
He's just out of his mind, right?
But he is, but he broke the steroids. This guy, there's always something true behind stuff he says.
Sure, I know, but
he's out of his he's out of his mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, he wants to fight him. That would be a good fight.
Right.
But even though Canseco's probably 10 years older.
Canseco's got nothing else to do, but A-Rod's actually having a nice life. Yeah. So I think Canseco would love the fight because he could make a buck on it probably, but it's never going to happen. I'm all for it, the J-Lo, A-Rod thing. I think they look alike. I love when couples who look alike get together. And they, like, I know she's been, she's, had Mark Anthony and had, P. Diddy and Ben Affleck and all those guys. But none of them ever made sense to me. You know, Mark Anthony, you look like a little wet possum, and you know, Ben Affleck is like, what is he doing? Like, he's like she's a Bronx chick, and he's a Boston drunk, and then you know, A-Rod's the one that made sense to me. I'm like, it's good. I like the two of them. Let them. Both got nice bodies and you know, nice tan skin. I like let them go out there and fuck each other. I don't think she can have kids anymore, right? She's 50 something.
Gotta be 50.
Oh yeah,
52.
and then she has the two Mark Anthony kids.
Yeah, he's about 45.
Well, good luck to A-Rod. Now if he fucked himself on Mark Anthony Cole's Mark Anthony jeans, he'll never get a good discount on those anymore. He's got a nice line of clothing at Cole's, that Mark Anthony. He's got nice sweaters and vests and things like that. If you're interested, head over to Kohl's. Get yourself some Mark Anthony clothes.
You said there are no ads on this podcast.
No, not yet. I'm dying to get one ad, but they won't give it to me because I make fun of Caitlin. So I can't get an ad on here. But I would rather be able to talk freely than talk about some toothbrush or whatever.
But close if you're listening.
Yeah, please. I will stop talking about Caitlin tomorrow if you give me $100. All right, here's what we're going to do now.
A Subway gift card for $5.
You know, so people have been giving it to me after shows, and they give them to me in $5 denominations. And every time I go to, they give me 4. They give me $20 worth in $5 denominations. I kind of made a joke about, hey, if you know, I don't ask for anything much, but give me Subway gift cards in $5 denominations, and people do.
That what happened on Chelsea lately? The fortune. Remember, somebody sent one thing, and we got stuff sent to the office.
Yeah, that's crazy. So anyway, they get, and I go into Subway, and I have to give them like 5 to get like, you know, one thing. So they're like, why are you giving me $5 gift cards? Anyway, it's fun. Thank you for doing it, and I appreciate it. And it is interesting and fun. Now we get to my favorite point of the show. And we've decided that this is the way we're going to end them. I don't know how this happened. It happened kind of weirdly between Alex and I with Edmund Fitzgerald. Oh. And I'm just fascinated by how songs in the 70s and how kind of not politically incorrect and weird, and Steve's as a music fan like I am, and he knows these songs very well. So we are going to. This is how we're ending them, and this is the #1 song in the country currently today. Alex has got it queued up. It's by the Jonas Brothers, who are back in action. Yeah. They are a couple. The one guy, I know, which is so cheesy at this point. Like, kill that carpool karaoke already, please. Started out with like Rod Stewart and like big people. Now it's like
George Michael first.
Yeah, it was the first one. Yeah. Anyway, Jonas Brothers are back together. They're all married now, I think. The one guy married the Indian girl, Deepak Chopra, I believe her name is. and the other guys, and the two ugly ones, they married some girls, and everybody's having a good time, and they're back together. I didn't really know them when they were a big deal. I guess they were like a Disney thing, and they had hits in the past, but they got a new hit, and it's #1. And Alex, go ahead, Alex. What do we got?
It's called Sucker, and I'm going to start
Sucker,
in the middle.
like
S-U-C-K-E-R,
like sucker, like you're a sucker.
Like you're a sucker.
Got it. All right, let's hear it. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. This is a pop hit. Steve's got a 5-year-old daughter. Is she listening to like pop hits?
Not quite yet.
Yeah.
Oh, she likes that "Meet Me in the Middle," that kind of stuff.
What's that? Meet Me in the Middle. Okay.
He looked at me.
Let me hear more. Let me hear more.
I'm looking at a guy in his 20s for "Meet Me."
Now, which guy sings? Which one is the Jonas Brother who sings? Is it the one with who's got
one has talent? Nick is the real talent.
Nick guy. Jonas is the one who married Chopra.
He's the one who writes a lot of songs.
And he also has diabetes. He's diabetic. He's diabetic.
Oh, is he the one who used to make fun of that, didn't he?
One of them's acting.
Yeah, he's doing some acting.
Yeah, he was in Les Mis.
They're all nice guys. They seem like nice guys. I have no beef with these kids.
He was in Les Mis.
Yeah.
I kind of like that their whole thing was like they're super Christian. I think that was kind of nice.
That kind of went away though.
Obviously
they were doing that for a minute. Remember they had like the virgin rings on and stuff, and now the one guy's got a hot. They all have hot girlfriends. Yeah, so they're done with that bullshit. Anyway,
so I thought
that's called Sucker.
Maybe this is just me. I'll play from the top now. I thought it started very weird. So tell me what you think of the intro.
Let's hear it.
This is the intro.
I like it. I think it's pretty good. Oh, I like it. Oh, I can hang out by a pool to this. I can lay down and have a pina colada at a
You
pool.
go through the kitchen.
Yeah.
To
Oh,
the
I
pool.
go to the kitchen to the pool with this. Get us a cabana. Oh, fuck yeah. Get us a cabana. Get us that. Bring us a carafe of cranberry juice, a carafe of orange juice, please, and then a bottle of we have to have Tito's because my friend's got a gluten allergy, and and then we're gonna sit here and just pour drinks, and then maybe a girl will come over and get up on us. That's fantastic. Sucker by the Jonas Brothers. All right, I like it. I'm into it. What do you think, Steve? How do you stand on today's pop music?
Well, you know me.
I know.
If it after 1982, I don't want to hear it.
Okay, well, you're about to. Yeah. Then you're in luck because what you're about to hear is a song sticking with the weird songs that came out in the 70s that were like. Now, I have to reiterate the fact that these are chart hits. They were like they were number one, number two. This one was released initially in 1977, I believe, and it went nowhere. At number 80 on the pop charts. Released again in 1982 and became an enormous hit for a girl named Charlene. Mm-hmm. Now, it was so much so that Charlene had gone back to work. She moved to American girl, married a man, moved to England, opened a candy shop, worked in a candy shop. Out of the business. This song fucking blows up, and she has to get
in
back.
America. Did it blow up, or did she have to go to the Korea circuit?
No. In America blew up, but it also blew up all over the world, and it's very strange. And the reason why we're gonna get back to it. The reason why this song means so much to me is so now I don't know how old I was in '82. Just a kid. And we're in the kitchen, and we used to have an AM radio in the corner of our kitchen in Ronkonkoma.
Explain that.
Yeah. Just like a radio, that would just play. We never turned it off. You just turned the volume down. The knob had fallen off. That we just had a needle nose plier on the knob that you could just turn the volume down, and so it never actually went off. And in the morning, we would play
one station. Did you guys
one station, and it would play music. You'd get a little news. You'd get a school closing if it snowed, things like that. It did everything.
WABC,
right? Yeah, whatever. I think we were listening to WBLI, Long Island's best soft rock. And this song was, and I remember my mother one time saying, "This song reminds me of Sue Cannon." Now, Sue Cannon was in our world, probably we thought. She lived a couple of houses down from us. We thought she was lived a hoity-toity lifestyle.
She took the hand of a preacher man.
Must be real nice being Sue Cannon. So my mother says, now bear in mind, Sue Cannon lived in Ronkonkoma. She never seen a yacht in her fucking life. Never been to Georgia or California. Never sipped champagne on a yacht. None of this. But in my mother's head, she was a fancy
she took
gal.
a plane.
And my mother's like, this reminds me of Sue Cannon. I bet Sue Cannon has been to paradise, but has you ever been to her? I was like, I've been to me, motherfucker. That's who I. So that's why this song has always meant so much. Anyway, let's get back to it. There's more because there's a very weird point.
What's the name of it?
It's called "Never Been to Me."
Okay.
Charlene ain't supposed to sing.
How did it take this woman so long to blow up? She had kings.
Yeah. Now let me say this. This was written by a man, of course, and there's a line that says, "I've seen some things that a woman just ain't supposed to see." Now I wonder what in the mind of this guy who wrote this song. I wonder what those things were. The woman just ain't supposed to see that. So she's seen some things. Anyway, let's get to the monologue portion of it. It's amazing. To paradise, but I've never been to me. Okay, here it is. Ready?
You know what paradise is? It's a lie. A fantasy we create about people and places as we like them to be. But you know what truth is? It's that little boy.
Truth is a little boy you're holding. It's that man you fought with this morning. You say, when are you going to make love to tonight? Okay. Okay. Now, the next line is the greatest line ever. The line of the song is, do you have the lyrics up?
No, but I have the story of how it came back.
Yeah. Anyway, if you can get the basically the next line is, he says, all these things you've done have gotten you nowhere in life. You've done some amazing things, but they've gotten you nowhere. And this is the line: the subtle whoring. That's what he says. The subtle whoring has added up to nothing. So
This is the man who wrote it.
whoever, maybe a man didn't read it. I don't know, but I just assumed.
But it came from her mouth.
Charlene says the subtle whoring that I've been doing hasn't gotten me anywhere. And I just think that's so, we need to bring that term back. Subtle whoring. Because we've all been guilty of subtle whoring. Am I right, Steve? On the
subtle whoring's the best kind of whoring.
The final verse. Subtle whoring. Right?
Let's see. Sometimes I've been crying for unborn children. It made me complete.
Yeah. See, that's she.
Oh, here it is. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I spend my life exploring the subtle whoring.
Yes.
That costs too much to be free.
Ain't that
hey, lady, I've been in paradise, but I've never been to me.
And you know what, everybody? Let's end it on that. If you gals have been out there and you just living the life and your husband's not giving you what you want and you used to have a good life, get out there and start subtle whoring again. You know, like I often say, put on your Jeanette body splash and just go out and have a good time.
Be subtle. Be subtle.
Be subtle. Subtle whoring. Now, don't just take cocks. You know, just subtly.
whoring.
Maybe rub it over the jeans or something. Subtle whoring. Sip champagne on a yacht. Move like Harlow through Monte Carlo and show them what you got. Steve Malmsteen, you've been a pleasure.
Oh,
Alex, as always, you're the best. Thank you all for listening to this one. This was fun. I think we had a good one here. I think we told some stories. We covered a couple of topics, and we had a pretty good time. As always, let me hear your reviews. Go on all the things and let us know. Thank you. Goodbye.